On. I guess that's my clue that I'm on. All right. Good morning. Woo! Good morning, Jubilee. Good morning, band, playing for us, getting us going. Sue Tomlin back with us. Good morning, all of you who are out on your internet this morning, sitting on your computer or your phone or walking your dog or doing whatever you're doing to join us here, or maybe join us later in the week, whenever you're joining us. We're glad you're here. So we are now in week 2 of the Via Negativa. And you may notice that it's the one quilt up there that's not lit. Even the light bulb knows it's the Via Negativa and has let go. as you look at that beautiful quilt, even in the dark, you see the fall colors. You see the fall colors here, the pine cones. And this morning I was like a little squirrel out gathering some nuts. And I'm going to pass these around. And we have a lot of folks who are going to arrive in a few minutes, as you see. That happened last week too. So we're going to make sure that they get the nuts. Everybody gets a nut today. These are actually acorns. We are nuts and we've got nuts. Oh, well, oh, wait. Okay, let me restate that. So yeah, if you could just keep those going around. So this morning, as we dive into the mystic, we're diving in with Julian of Norwich, and you'll hear a little bit more about her later in the service. And you will need to hang on to this nut. Don't lose your acorn as the service goes on, because we're going to be meditating on our acorns later in the service. And we're reminded, as we look at these rocks, the mum, the pine cone, the water, we're reminded that everything on this earth, everything in this universe is connected to the care and the love that is its source. And when we dive into the mystic with all of these mystics that we're meeting this fall, we dive down into that river beneath all the wells and sources of water that we see and experience. That deep underlying truth, that deep underlying reality that is deeper and broader and more universal than any expression that we have. And yet all of our expressions are valuable and valued also. So come on, Jubilee. Today we are diving into the mystic, and let's join in singing as we dive together.
Thank you so much for being here this morning, and for all of those that are out there in internet land. We welcome you and remind ourselves of the vastness of what we're doing in this time of the mystery, and sometimes how vast a mystery can be. I was just watching Willie over here on the equipment is saying something about whenever you fade in or fade out, sometimes the screen just kind of goes dark. And isn't that kind of true of what's going on in life right now? When we try to focus in a little closer, maybe the little darker it gets. So in this time of mystery, as we talk about the great mystery of life and the great mystery that lies before us, then again, how about we rest assured in what we do know inside our heart and our spirit in these times? To rest assured and find that comfort. To create that safe place for us to go for ourselves so that we can offer ourselves to our community, to our family and our loved ones in a good way. So with that, please face with me to the east. Oh, spirits of the east, we thank you for this day. We thank you for our life, and we thank you for all the light that you provide for us, the warmth. We thank you for the beauty and the turning of the leaves. We thank you for telling us the story through nature and wind and light and the earth and the trees and the leaves. Remind us the language of nature. Remember. Help us to remember. In a good way. Warm our hearts and our spirits. I hope. Face to the south, please. Oh, spirits of the south. We are in such gratitude for all your greatness, for all that you do to nurture our growth and to quench our thirst for the great mystery of life. We ask you that you continue to grow us just as these nuts, these seeds that we have been given this day to remind us ourselves to plant ourselves firm and to go deep within our roots in this time of settling, even in these moments of darkness and unsettling. We ask you to reflect the light in the water, in our heart and our spirit. We ask you to continue to nurture us in this way. Thank you again for your greatness. And thank you for sharing it with us in our lives. In a good way. Oh. Face to the west, please. Oh, spirits of the west. It's with great gratitude and honor that we come to you today. It's us, the community of Jubilee, and not only that, it's us, the children of your children and the grandchildren of the generations that have come. We come here in our voice to remind you that the greatness that you dreamed of and prayed for and sang in your heart, those echoes are still alive in our heart and our spirit. And know that we honor you every day as we strive for the future. In this time of the great mystery, in this time of fading darkness, in this time of growing light, we ask you to continue to share your stories and your vision and our prayers with us in the wind and in the light and in nature. In a good way, we ask you to continue to share with us. Now, face to the north, please. Oh, spirits of the north, we thank you. We thank you for carrying the voices and the echoes and the vibrations of the past. All of those prayers that have been spoken and all the songs and all the laughter and all the tears. We thank you, Wind Nation, for carrying that melody of the past that takes us to the future. We ask you to hear our voice, to join with you, to rise our hopes and our visions, our prayers, to the places that only the wind and love know to go. Let us journey with you in a good way. And know that we raise our voice and take each and every breath with gratitude. Thank you for all your greatness. In a good way. Face the ceiling. To all the ancestors of the universe, Know that in this moment of silence and tears and the edge of the not knowing, we are in such gratitude for the mystery that is what is to come. Thank you for being that light for us, and thank you for being that hope. Continue to share and to shine. Continue to help us to grow toward the light, just like these seeds that we have. Nurture us in a good way.
Feed the hungry, and if you got here late and didn't get an acorn, while you're feeding the hungry, you can grab an acorn off the table, and we'll sing along.
Tommy used to work on the docks. Union's been on strike. He's down on his luck. It's tough. So tough. Come on, you know it. Gina works the counter all day, working for the man. She brings home a pay for love. For love. She's gotta hold on to what we got. It doesn't make a difference if we make it or not. We got each other, and that's our life for love. We'll give it a shot. Come on. Oh, we're halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Whoa, living on a prayer. We're halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Whoa, living on a prayer. Living on a prayer.
We can do a whole song for you if you want. Oh, hey. Okay. Hey, all right, let's do it. Okay, this is Ted Moe. This is everything I need. Okay. Are we on? No. You ready for this?
We got a song if you want it, but it's just a little riff.
Oh, do a big down on this one once. Stop.
Ain't got no money, ain't got no sleep. No friends, no family, no friends, no family, and no peace. Oh, no friends, no family, no bread, no weed.
Somebody is yelling out.
Can y'all hear me? Y'all can hear me, right? All right. So, the Jubilee Singers will be so this is Jubilee in action, by the way. The Jubilee Singers will be rehearsing outdoors on September 29th, and they'll also be recording on October 6th. And if you'd like to attend either the rehearsal or the recording, contact Terry Sandoval for details, and her email is on the homepage of our website. The October 16th mini retreat has been postponed while we explore an exciting new format for developing community conversations amongst jubilants. And October 3rd, the Sunday celebration includes the blessing of the animals, so don't forget to bring your furry and scaly and feathered friends with you. Let's see, if you're interested in creating a gift for the Via Negativa Sunday celebrations, there's a link to the Seeds of Celebrations right on the homepage. Kirsten Azel's artwork is in the hospitality room, and 50% of proceeds go to the Hunger Fund. And we still need folks to help with Sunday setup and other stuff, so please get in touch with Laura Collins to let her know if you want to help or how you want to help. And please leave the chairs where they are. It makes it a lot easier for next week's setup. And now Vinette Allen and Michael Smith and Kim Wagner of WNC Health Services have some announcements. I'm going to turn it over to Vinette.
Hi. The Jubilee Earth Team wants you to know that the big Build Back Better Infrastructure Act, I hope you knew about that, that's now going before Congress is critical to everything that needs to happen regarding climate change, including reducing pollution by 50% in 2030, huge, creating good paying jobs in clean energy, making the US power sector achieve 100% clean energy, investing in marginalized communities left behind, making polluters pay methane-free and end fossil fuel subsidies, and cleaning up agricultural practices that prioritize conservation. You can express your support for the act by calling some or all of your Congress representative and key senators. They are listed with their phone numbers in the Jubilee in Action section of the Jubilee website. This will take just a few minutes of your time. Phone calls are much more effective than emails. Please do this. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michael Smith. I'm a first-term member of the Jubilee Board, started in July last year. Our board over the next several weeks is going to be sharing regular updates. First of all, I want to say that the Via Negativa could not have come at a better time. Or is it a worse time? From a comfort and preference perspective, is there ever a good time for the Via Negativa? But reality is, Negativa happens. And we are there. Negativa happens especially for a community that's in a journey of transformation, not transition. Transition for Jubilee community would have been Howard retired and we went to the lab and pulled out the Howard Hanger clone that had been carefully prepared, put him up here in the pulpit, and things would have gone on the way Jubilee has gone for years past. Well, actually we do have a Howard Hanger clone, but the programmers are still doing a little bit of fine tuning because the clone that we have tells really, really bad jokes and is too much of a smart aleck. So we're having to stick with our plan. We are on a journey of transformation. We're being transformed into the next stage of the amazing community that Howard and a bunch of you birthed and have helped cultivate and nurture over these past 32 years. Okay, for a couple of practical updates, particularly our staff situation. Many of you know that Patrick Fitzsimmons, who is our interim Jubilee administrator for the past year, has been elected the mayor of Weaverville. How about that? And we wish his honor the best. Our HR team is working immediately to post a job description for a new administrator. They're also working to post one for someone to help us with basics of pastoral care that we've been missing for a while, and also for a bookkeeper. Mona, who's been our bookkeeper, is wrapping up this month. For some reason, she wasn't very enthusiastic about driving regularly from Flat Rock up 26 to do the work. You also know that Daniel Barber, our leader of our amazing World Beat Band for 20 years, has finally surrendered to the call to devote his full energy to his I Am Sound ministry, helping people unleash their full potential. We miss Daniel, but look over here. We're blessed with the ongoing gifts of the amazing Paula, Anthony, Ryan, and Augustine, and Bob, and the amazing sound folks, and they're just so grateful. And when you see Michelle Bernhardt invite us into Jubilee in Action, that's only the tip of a huge iceberg of work that she does every week, managing print, online, and digital communications. In the meantime, she's getting us into a whole new data system that'll help us know who's connected to Jubilee and how to keep in touch with each other. Adding that data system right now is like changing tires on a car that's moving. And we're all aware that Laura Collins will be with us as Minister of Transition through November 21st. Laura, what a gift you are. Laura initially committed to serve in that capacity for a year, but she's agreed to extend for 3 more months. So we send just huge love and gratitude to you, friend. Laura's assessment that she shared with the board is that Jubilee really needs another year or more of interim leadership before hiring a longer-term minister of liturgy. COVID and other factors have made it virtually impossible for us to retool some of our essential systems and processes that are needed so that when our new minister comes in, they're able to come in and thrive. So that seems good. But the board's going to be sorting through and making some decisions on that in the very near future. In the meantime, we're making efforts to ensure that our celebrations continue with a mix of world-class music, dancing with mystery, and all of that you've come to expect as a part of our celebrations. We're blessed with a gifted staff and a cluster of amazing Jubilee ministers and other very talented members, as well as our board, who will make that happen. The board's job is to help our community be who we are called to be. You're probably aware, but I want to remind you that you'll find the names and bios of all of our board members on our jubileecommunity.org website. And you're always welcome to attend our board meetings. Several did this past Monday, and we're really grateful to have all of you who did. Third Monday of every month, 6 p.m., right here at Jubilee. Our bylaws are posted on the website, and the minutes of each month's board meeting are posted usually within a week. So far, I think we have not yet posted from last Monday, but that'll be happening shortly. So, just wanted to mention too, that Michelle Smith, who is our board vice chair, at the end of our celebration, will be over here in the corner close to the western wall in case you have some questions or comments that you want to share with her. But remember, as the Jubilee community, We are all co-creators of our future together. Your ideas, vision, passions will shape who we are becoming. And as Michelle Bernhardt mentioned a minute ago, we'll be announcing by next week a series of Jubilee community conversations about our future. And we will get there.
I don't know, is Kim Wagner here? You are, okay. Introducing Kim Wagner.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for inviting me on this beautiful fall day in the mountains. Glad to see that we're going to start getting some cooler weather. I'm the new CEO of Western North Carolina Community Health Center, or Minnie Jones Health Center, as you all may know it. And I'm just here to thank you all for the support that you have given us over the last decade, and we are internally grateful for that. Lots of things have happened at Minnie Jones. The last 18 months have been really a challenge in our flexibility, our challenge in making sure that we are providing services to the community. And thankfully, we did not close our doors. Many of our fellow community health centers had to temporarily close down for a little bit, but we managed to keep our doors open and still provide services for medical, more importantly for dental. We were one of the only two dental practices that were remained open, as well as behavioral health. And your support really means a lot because we are here for the community. The board is committed to making sure we have services that the community needs. And just a couple of things that have happened, even besides the pandemic. We bought a mobile unit. We're going to start taking that out, especially over here to Haywood Respite, to be working with our homeless population and further out into the community. We're getting ready to open another site in Candler. We see a large population out there that already comes into Asheville. Let's bring it closer to them. And finally, we're going to be looking at McDowell. So despite the pandemic, we have been very, very busy. And I welcome any of you all to please the email info Winchester. If you have any questions about what we're doing, please feel free to call or feel free to send us an email. We are here for the community, and we really appreciate your community support. Thank you very much. Ready to start vision services, to be able, we're looking for an optometrist to be able to start providing that service as well. So, yeah.
So I would invite everyone. It's green. Oh, there it is. Okay. I would invite everyone to just take a moment and from your heart, out through your hands, offer a blessing to Kim on behalf of the WNC Health Center and the work that you do.
Thank you.
So if everybody would, let's just take a moment, just looking around. And if you could just repeat after me. Kim, we bless you.
Kim, we bless you.
We bless the work of the WNC Health Center.
We bless the work of the WNC Health Center.
We bless everyone who comes there to receive services.
We bless everyone who comes there to receive services.
We bless your new mobile van.
We bless your new mobile van.
We bless every nurse, every doctor,
We bless every nurse, every doctor,
every dentist, every healthcare provider, every mental health counselor, every administrative staff. We thank you. We bless you. We say a big jubilee, oh yeah.
We are going to be on, we still are offering vaccines. If you need your booster shot, just give us a call and we can make an appointment for you, okay? But thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Is there anyone who did not get an acorn? Anybody need an acorn? There's acorns around if you need an acorn. I'll pass it back there. There you go. And as that's being passed back, just a reminder that the reason Kim is here this morning and that we've had other outreach speakers here recently is that throughout this pandemic, they're not exactly bowls, they're baskets, where we feed the hungry, have been coming in and going out. There has been no quarter of the pandemic where we did not continue our outreach support of this community. So this is the time that we ring and sing our bells. So if you want to get a bowl, you're welcome to come up. If you're at home and you have your Tibetan bowl or your favorite bell that you ring, get that out now and join us. It's the via negativa of mics today. They're letting go. Every week we gather living on a prayer. Whoa, yeah. We're halfway there. Breathe deeply. I invite you to take a moment to call to mind anybody in need of this loving prayer energy that we're gathering right now. And I invite you to bring to mind the earth itself. And all of her beings and creatures, her birds and fish, her insects and human ones. Her waters, her mountains, her trees. Breathe deeply. And as we gather this loving prayer energy, I invite you to bring into your heart things that you're grateful for, people, places, happenings, experiences. What are you grateful for right now? We're living on a prayer. We're living on lots of prayers. We're floating on the prayer energy that we create with each other. We're trusting in the prayers of our neighbors and our friends. We're sending out our prayers to our neighbors, near and far, the person sitting right next to you right now, the person in your neighborhood that may need you right now. We're living on prayers. And so we lift up all of these prayers this morning. The prayers that we've offered in our hearts, the prayers that we light in a candle, the prayers that we ring in a bell, the prayers that feel desperate, the prayers that feel easy, the prayers that we're afraid to speak, the prayers that others have spoken for us. We lift them all up and we breathe them all in. Take my hand, we're halfway there. Oh yeah, living on a prayer. So as we sing our time of peace, I invite you to sing through the song once, and then let's get up and offer the peace of soul friends to each other.
In the midst of the morning we open to all the gifts of the day. We open our hearts to let it all in and give it all back in our way. Let us sing of the beauty around us. Let us sing of the beauty within. Oh, hear the earth tell that all shall be well. I'm so
Share that all shall be well with each other.
in the midst of morning we open to all the gifts of the day. We open our hearts to let it open and give it all back in our way. Let us sing of the beauty around us. Let us sing of the beauty
Good morning. If you've been a part of the racial equity team or any other discussion group or reading club reading about racial equity issues and white privilege and all that fun stuff, then you may have either learned or been reminded of what you had forgotten, that the roots of inequity in this country run back to the colonies. And one of the oldest tricks by those in power has been to turn to the poor whites and say, "Psst, hey, here's a little bit of property. Watch out, the dark-skinned guy's gonna take your property away from you." And then the poor are pitted against poor and make it into a racial issue. And there were details that I had not learned about this that I learned through some recent readings and some discussion groups. And I started writing this song, and it occurred to me, it has not been lost on me during all these discussions, that I really am from a white family, because that's my mother's paternal name and lineage, Lola White. And I've always known we are descended from the first baby born on the Mayflower, who was named Peregrine White. The parents named him Peregrine as a symbol of hope and kind of discovery, much like the name of the Mayflower boat itself and the flower that it's named for. So I've always known that. But before I finished this lyric, I figured, well, let me look up this Peregrine dude. It's not a song about him, but I wanted to learn just a couple more details. And it turns out that the White family on the Mayflower were in indentured servitude. And Peregrine was born into indentured servitude. And only as a young adult, when he married up and was given some land, became a freeman. So the most famous kind of seed in my lineage in this country is a specific example of one of those poor whites. Just, hey, here's some land. Watch out. Watch out who might take it from you. It's like that cartoon with the rich guy with all the dollars coming out of his pockets, who's clearly got a fistful of cookies in his hand. And there's a middle class guy on one side and a poor guy on the other side, and he whispers over to the middle class guy, "Watch out. That guy might take your one cookie that's on that plate, you know, and he's got the whole rest of them in his plate." Anyway, that's what, in very broad terms, this song is about, called Little White Lie. I was born into a little white lie, that my father's fortune should be mine, and that somehow it was not a crime to steal a mother's darling child. But I cannot turn a blinded eye to another mourning mother's cries, as in her arms her darling dies. My birthright was a little white lie. If I do not claim my father's sins, how can I claim his merits? For spoils of wars I did not fight, to be mine to inherit. While neither flag nor cross I've burned, the time has come to say goodbye to privileges I have not earned. My birthright was a little white lie. I was told that it would surely be my destiny to proudly stand, told that I am more worthy than a man with even less than I, who steal what little that I own. Do that verse again, sorry. I was told that it would surely be my destiny to proudly stand with within my higher station here, on my own paltry plot of land, told that I am more worthy than a man with even less than I, who'll steal what little that I own. My birthright was a little white light. Who are the authors of this lie that I so often have been told? One need only to track where they have left a trace of stolen gold. Now may my own way be redeemed, no fool's gold shining like false pride, with no bright fanfare or reward. My birthright was a little white light, pale peregrine with Mayflower, or olive branch held by a dove. What is my pilgrimage to be? To conquer, colonize, or love? Unless there is a cause for which I am prepared to give my life, then this life is not fit to live. My birthright was a little white light. My birthright was a little white light.
Thank you, Brian. So in the Jubilee tradition of the bulletin only being a suggestion, I have a different reading today. I even have a different mystic today. Oh, we're going to get to Julian too, but first I want to start with a poem by Kabir. Some of you might know Kabir as either a Sufi poet or a Muslim poet. Both religions try to, or a Hindi poet. He did write in Hindi. And both Hinduism and Islam try to claim him now, but both religions tried to kill him when he was alive. He incorporated devotional practices from each of them, but rejected both of them. Then later, his poetry got included in the Sikh scriptures. So he's sort of all and none of the above in terms of what he is religiously. And if you read about his life, there's not really much known about his actual life. But one of the legends is that he was born to an unwed mother who had an immaculate conception. Sound familiar? Also, that he was abandoned in a basket that was sent floating down the river. Sound familiar? He's Moses and Jesus all in one. Kabir, K-A-B-I-R is how we usually spell it with English letters. So anyway, this is a poem. He wrote a lot of poems. Here's one of them. This I've discovered is true knowledge. Those who scramble to get in a boat, they sink like a stone midstream. While the shelterless and abandoned, they reach the other shore. Those who dare to take the hard, winding, thorny road get to town in the end. But those who stroll the easy highway get robbed and even killed soon after they set out. Everyone is wound in illusion's web, the so-called holy as well as the worldly. Those who run for safety under the comforting gaze of form and ritual and dogma, well, Life's hurricanes lash them. Stay out in the open. You'll be left safe and dry. The ones love never savages. Let me say that again. The ones love never savages live in boredom and pain. Those love devours like a cannibal live in bliss forever. The ones who lose their own eyes come to see the whole creation blazing in their own light. Those who hold on to their own sight remain blind as bats at noon. And now we are going to read some Julian of Norwich as well. And I invite you to hold in your hand your little acorn. What is written here was written as Julian was meditating on a hazelnut. I didn't have any hazelnuts, but I've got a big oak tree that drops these on my metal roof all the time. So I had plenty of acorns to get for you this morning. And in this, he showed me a little thing, the quantity of a hazelnut lying in the palm of my hand, as it seemed. And it was as round as any ball. I looked upon it with the eye of my understanding and thought, what may this be? And it was answered generally thus: it is all that is made. I marveled how it might last, for I thought it might suddenly have fallen to nothing for its littleness. And I was answered in my understanding, it lasts and ever shall, for God loves it. And so have all things in their beginning by the love of God. And in this little thing, I saw three properties. The first is that God made it. The second is that God loves it. And the third is that God keeps it. This is ancient wisdom and holy word.
Thanks be to all that is wise and holy.
All creation is wisdom and holy word.
All creation sings of wisdom of God. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So in October of 1347, a ship full of dead sailors docked in the harbor at Sicily. That's probably how the Sicilians felt when that happened. Though authorities tried to send it back out to sea, it was too late. The bubonic plague, which had been making its way through China, India, and the Middle East, had now arrived in Europe. And over the next 5 years, this Black Death would kill over 1/3 of Europe's population. The English mystic, Julian of Norwich, was 5 years old when the plague arrived in Europe. Its death and pestilence would have formed her earliest memories. The grief and fear that it brought would have shaped her experience of the world and the people around her. When she was almost 31 years old, she became deathly ill herself. She received the last rites, and as she lay dying, waiting for death to take her, she began to have mystical visions that she later wrote down as showings. And these visions were the basis of her writings, known as the Revelations of Divine Love, which are the first known English writings by a woman. Julian emphasized how the bond between mother and child is the only earthly relationship that comes close to the relationship that a person can have with Jesus. She wrote of Jesus conceiving, giving birth, weaning, and bringing up children. Some scholars believe that she herself was not a nun, but rather a mother who had lost all of her children, perhaps in a later round of the plague. It kept coming back through Europe over the years. And that it was in her time of self-isolation or quarantine or sheltering at home, as we might say, that she became a contemplative. think about that. This great mystic, whose words this community has sung to Howard's tune, was shaped by the isolation, the grief, and the fear of a rampant plague, killing large portions of the population around her. All shall be well. All shall be well. All manner of things shall be well. All shall be well. On the Mall in Washington, D.C. this week, an installation of almost 700,000 white flags commemorates the lives of Americans lost so far to COVID. From a context of enormous death and suffering in the world to the reality of her own suffering and near-death experience, Julian spoke of God as the ground of our being. That phrase has been given, later male theologians have been given credit for that phrase, but she is the one who really made use of that phrase. God as the ground of our being, and of Jesus as our mother. She saw the smallest thing, and she knew that God cared for it, and that it contained everything that is. In the context of suffering and death, she said to us, all shall be well. All shall be well. All manner of things shall be well. All shall be well. So this was an amazing week at Jubilee. If you read this week's e-news, you got a taste of it, and Michael shared some from a board perspective. And as our treasurer, Tim Rand, said at Monday night's board meeting, we need to do everything at once, but we have to do one thing at a time. So we're recreating systems for things as simple as making sure that we have the names and addresses of jubilants, to things as complex as what do we do with the amazing assets that we've inherited from 32 years as a community? This amazing building that's expensive. This wonderful and wounded community. The assets of this celebration that have been so muted, literally, by things internal and external. And we're asking ourselves and each other and you, what are you called to invest in for the future of Jubilee? What are you called to invest in for the future of Jubilee? And here's what has been so clear to me this week. Jubilee is a microcosm of the world right now. We are alive at a time when this country is burning down both literally and politically. When the Arctic ice caps are melting, when hurricanes threaten our coast, when the effects of typhoons and volcanoes and earthquakes and flooding and drought accumulate around the world. And it's enough to send us to our sick beds, and has for many of us. And if you are in touch with plants, trees, birds, animals, sea creatures, you can hear their cries and feel their suffering. Like Julian waiting for her death, we may find ourselves lying in bed, stunned into near paralysis by the suffering that we can see and feel if we let ourselves. But who the hell wants to do that? Come on, let's get this party started. Let's do a little more Bon Jovi. Let's sing, let's dance. Let's have some fun, or let's at least distract ourselves to death. Nobody wakes up in the morning thinking, I think I'd like to be a Debbie Downer today. Most of us wake up wanting to be more like Gabriel, dancing through the day. So what Julian offers is another way to see the brutality of this world, what Glennon Doyle calls the brutal nature of life, both brutal and beautiful. She invites us to see these as the birth pangs of love. Now, we've talked about this same concept in a variety of ways over these last 18 months, and we've heard from modern-day mystics about how this pandemic and the global climate crisis and the current political polarization are all part of a great turning. The great turning. Right? Right? We want to believe that. There's part of our brain, at least, that wants to believe that, and part of our heart that wants to be part of it, to be birthers of this new reality that's going to rise from the death of the old and from this long labor of bringing into birth the new. But then, when faced with something as simple as hiring a new church administrator, it feels like too much. How can we make this work? It's exhausting. But what if it isn't hard? What if it is easy? What if every little thing is already taken care of? What if every little thing is already taken care of? What if, Julie, we are being given the exquisite opportunity to do in microcosm what the world so desperately needs in macrocosm? And what is that? To enter into the suffering, to face it head on, and to be able to see through it to the glorious light of God. To trust the exquisite care of God. To trust that the energy that keeps the planets in their course is right here with us. And it's not only Christian mystics who speak of this. The poet Kabir, who, by the way, was also around 30 years old when he began to write his astounding and gorgeous mystical poetry. 30. Like Jesus, Julian, Kabir, the Buddha, all in their 30s when they got it. I kind of feel like I've missed the boat sometimes. Anyway, Kabir wrote these lines. The ones love never savages live in boredom and pain. Some days I wish for a little more boredom. Those love devours like a cannibal live in bliss forever. The ones who lose their own eyes come to see the whole creation in blazing light. Those who hold on to their own sight remain blind as bats at noon. The ones loved never savage. The ones loved never savages live in boredom and in pain. Those loved devours live in bliss forever. I remember falling in love with these lines from John Donne, my first year of college. Batter my heart, three-personed God. Take me to you, imprison me, for I, except you enthrall me, shall never be free, nor ever chaste, except you ravish me. As a feminist, I struggle a little with the rapey language of that. And yet, the ones love never savages live in boredom and pain. As long as these words remain poetry, we admire them, we relish them, we say yes to them, but actually being battered, ravished, devoured, savaged, really? I mean, think about it. These are no less disturbing than the images of Christ suffering on the cross, which Julian focused on in her Revelations. They're brutal images. They're brutal images. And yet here's the thing. All the mystics, all the poets who sing of this divine brutality do so with joy, with passion, with ecstasy even. This is not random suffering, arbitrary suffering. This is allowing ourselves to enter into the suffering of the world in order to be, what was your word? Transformed. 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 This is the gold willingly entering the fire to be refined. This is the wheat laying itself down on the thrashing floor to have that chaff beaten out of it. We comfort ourselves with the illusion that suffering can be metaphorical, but the ecstasy real. And the mystics say to us, if you haven't been ravished, devoured, savaged by love, then you'll remain in your boredom and your blindness. And every time I run up against this reality, I want to shout out, this sucks. I want the ecstasy without the suffering. Come on. What the heck, Holy One? I would have arranged things differently had I created the world. And so I find myself praying over and over for years on end, let me know you, divine presence. Let me know you. Let me be taken over by your love. Let me release all these annoying habits of my ego and my small self and open into this bigger truth, this wider love, this deeper ocean of the ineffable. But could you please be really, really gentle about it? Because I really don't want it to be hard. I look around at the world right now, and I believe that we're experiencing the results of millennia of us wishing we could get to the ecstasy without entering the suffering. And now we're being plunged into a holy school, a profound mystery school of the utmost importance, a devotional preparation, a graduate education in letting go that is escalating until we get on board. Will we do our homework? I used to think if we could just see the brutality, and this goes to Brian's song this morning, if we could just see the brutality that black people face from state-sanctioned violence, then we would change. Now we see it all the time. You have to work really hard to not see it. We saw it this week on the Texas border as Haitian refugees were literally whipped by white men on horses. I used to think if we could just pay attention to the science of climate change, we would gather the political will to do the right thing. And now the evidence is literally burning down our house. And still, we don't have the political will. So into this we sing. All shall be well. All shall be well. All things shall be well. All shall be well. So why is it this week that I felt so happy? I mean, I've had a really great week. And who knows, the human psyche, maybe I just ate and slept better and my nervous system was a little calmer than usual. Or maybe it was one of those weeks when I glimpsed into this bizarre reality that even this mess is a chance for humanity to make a leap into love. To let go of the trapeze that has propelled us into this moment and to feel the terror of being suspended in midair without a net, of not knowing if we could catch the next bar, and yet being able to imagine a world, a faith community, a personal life where we do catch the bar. And in doing so, by the grace of God, we swing up into a glorious new future. Not a safe future, not an okay future, not a not quite what it used to be, but not too bad future, but an ecstatic new future. The ones love never savages, live in boredom and pain. Those love devours like a cannibal, live in bliss forever. Julian glimpsed this new future so she could sing, "All shall be well." She didn't sing that all would be clear or easy, or that our egos would magically drop away, never to annoy us again, or that Earth's sufferings would cease, or humanity's cruelty would have no consequences. But she did sing that all shall be well. All shall be well. All shall be well. Julian trusted a love stronger than cruelty, a life more real than death, a ground more stable than the earth's blessed gravity, a mother God more nurturing than any care we've ever known on earth. All the mystics sing of this. Sing of this ecstasy unleashed, and this grace unbound, and this love unlimited, and this wisdom beyond words. What if this unending pandemic, this cataclysmic climate crisis, even this difficult moment in the life of this community are all calls to let go of the bar we're clinging to so that we can fly into the next level of love. The next incarnation of holy joy. The new reality of a divine presence unlike anything we've collectively experienced before. What if that collective leap depends on each of us letting go? A giant trust fall into the abyss, a deep dive into the unknown. What if God's work depends on us consciously and willingly settling into a quiet confrontation with the death of everything we love and not looking away until this practice of presence propels us into a joyous journey toward the new. What if Jubilance, this microcosm of a community, could lead the way? What are you being called to let go of? To trust? To commit to? Breathe deeply. As Arundhati Roy wrote, another world is not only possible, she is on her way. And on a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. Oh, yeah. And in this little thing, I saw 3 things. First, that God made it. Second, that God loves it. And third, that God keeps it. And so it is. Let's stand and sing ourselves out into the week.
We were born before the wind, also younger than the sun. And the funny boat was one as we sailed into the mystic. Hark now, hear the sailors cry. Smell the sea, feel the sky. Let your soul and your spirit fly into the mystic.
So Paul and Diana, I'm going to say,
From the top.
yeah, so it's Into the Mystic. This is a Van Morrison song. It's a little slow for an ending, so we almost didn't use it. But we decided, yeah, no, we want to sail out. We want to let our soul and spirit fly out this week into the mystic. So now that you've got it, let's sing it again.
Make it. We were born before the wind, also younger than the sun. And the bonny boat was one as we sailed into the mystic. Hark now, hear the sailors cry. Smell the sea and feel the sky. Let your soul and spirit fly into the mystic. Do that last line again. Let your soul and your spirit fly into the mystic. Let your soul and spirit fly into the mystic. Thank you.